On today's episode of The Front Row, we are downtown in the Lubbock Cultural District in the studios of Classical 105.7. And we're spending some time this week with the Lubbock Symphony Orchestra as they launch their season ticket renewal campaign. And part of that involves an organization, the Lubbock Symphony Chamber Orchestra. They are conducted by Dr. Eric Allen, who is their conductor. He is also Director of Traditional Music Ministries at First United Methodist Church and Associate Director of Bands at Texas Tech University. Eric, welcome back to the Front Row.
It's great to be here, Clint. Thank you.
Well, it's so great to have you this week as we are spending time with the Lubbock Symphony Orchestra, as you are the conductor of the Lubbock Chamber Orchestra. For people who need some context, tell us a little bit about the formation of the Chamber Orchestra and how that came about and how you came to be its conductor.
Great. Thanks, Clint. Well, what an honor to be here today and as a part of the Lubbock Symphony. The Lubbock Symphony Chamber Orchestra began as part of a church concert series, if you will, and about almost 10 years ago, we began at Lake Ridge United Methodist Church doing a concert series, and as it gained popularity, we decided it was best to expand that, outside the church, and we became the Lubbock Chamber Orchestra officially, 501c3, and we began to do concerts under that umbrella, that organization, and after a few years and really meaningful conversations with the Lubbock Symphony, we made the decision collectively to combine forces and to join their organization under their leadership. And we merged officially in 2023 and became the Lubbock Symphony Chamber Orchestra as part of their overarching umbrella organization. And so since that time, we found it to be just a really wonderful collaboration to be a part of the organization and to be able to function with my colleague David Cho and to be able to put on to be able to expand upon what the Lubbock Symphony is already doing as well. And we just decided it was better to work together than to work separately, and so right. which makes sense.
So how does a chamber orchestra supplement something like the Lubbock Symphony?
Great question. Well, the chamber orchestra functions slightly different in that we can explore a more diverse repertoire in terms of the size of the ensemble in particular. The chamber orchestra, where it differs from the symphony, that you might hear the full forces of the symphony on major orchestral works and performed in the large hall, the chamber orchestra actually functions in a way that can be a little bit more flexible in the instrumentation. So if you attend a concert, you might hear a piece that was entirely for strings and then followed by a piece that was just for winds, or perhaps a combination of the groupings of instruments and the different ensemble makeups, if you will. And the other part that makes it really special is that it's a little bit more of an intimate setting, if you will. So we perform in the Crickets Theater, which is the second hall at Buddy Holly, that seats about 400, and it allows the audience the opportunity to be able to experience a little bit more of an intimate setting with the musicians as well. And so everyone in the audience can see the expression on the player's face because they're close and they have proximity, and they can see how they interact with each other and with me as the conductor. And so I think where it really complements, it opens up the opportunity to explore a repertoire that that might not have been possible before. We can explore some of the pieces that were designed for smaller groups, more intimate settings, and more just a little bit more diversity, perhaps. So I think one of the things that we really enjoy doing is classical repertoire. Of course, the music of Mozart, Haydn, early Beethoven, and so you might hear a small chamber piece followed by a Mozart symphony, and we can also do because of this we can combine maybe one of those pieces from that era with a more modern work that supplements it in some way, that there's some connective tissue that allows us to have this artistic weave, if you will, to connect everything together just to make it a special performance. So
Well, tell us, speaking of repertoire, tell us a little bit about what you have in mind for next year and the next year concerts in the 80th anniversary season of the Lubbock Symphony.
80 years, that's amazing. Well, we're thrilled to be a part of it, and our first performance will be on Saturday, September 19th, which is the day after the Texas Tech football game, which is on Friday evening and that same weekend. And that concert is really inspired by this idea of firsts. The idea of first being that, things that you might associate with your first experience with classical music. And the one piece that stands out to me, and I think to most, by Mozart, is the Eine kleine Nachtmusik. And so sometimes even young children have experienced this at a really early age, the piece that they just associate with classical music. And so that will be the opening piece for the concert, the Mozart Eine kleine Nachtmusik. And we'll follow that up with another piece by Mozart, which will feature two outstanding soloists. This is the Mozart Concerto for Flute and Harp, and we're going to feature Kim Hudson on flute and Rachel Mizuko on harp. They're both our principal players for the Lubbock Symphony, and always great to be able to feature our own. And these two instruments just are elegant and beautiful, and the combination of the two in this piece is just outstanding. It's just wonderful. And so we're really excited to be able to share that. And then following a brief intermission, we'll perform another first, which is Beethoven's First Symphony. And now most people are very familiar with the Fifth Symphony and even the Third and definitely the Ninth. But as we approach an important year for Beethoven, we're excited to be able to share this First Symphony, which really, in Beethoven's, in his repertoire, the first two of his symphonies really fit into this more of a classical era sound and idea versus his later symphonies that really altered around the Third Symphony, the Eroica Symphony, and kind of precipitated what became what we know now as the Romantic era, if you will. And so to be able to explore this early Beethoven work is going to be really exciting.
Great. Yeah. That sounds terrific. What do you have in mind for the spring?
And in the spring, good question. April 2nd will be our concert in the spring, and we'll open with Haydn's Symphony Number 101, The Clock. And we'll follow that up with a really exciting and beautiful work by Arthur Bird, The Wind Serenade. And this serenade features 10 winds, a double wind quintet, if you will. So there are 2 flutes, 2 oboes, 2 clarinets, 2 bassoons, and 2 horns. And it's just a really lovely work, an intimate piece that explores and just features the wind players. Gives the string players a break, too, which they always appreciate. And then we'll conclude that with Maurice Ravel's The Mother Goose Suite, which ties in this idea of enchantment, which this entire concert, that entire concert is really built around this idea of fantasy and enchantment. And so we're really excited to share those 2 performances this year, and then also I'm fortunate to get to conduct the Lubbock Symphony in their once again in their big holiday event, which is Home for the Holidays, which will be December 1st, and this year it's moving to Buddy Holly Hall, and so we're really excited to do that. And that concert will be a collaborative performance that will feature world-class soprano Amy Owens, as well as the Lubbock Chorale, the FUMC Chancel Choir, and the West Texas Children's Chorus, along with the Lubbock Symphony. So we're really thrilled to be able to share this kickoff to the holidays, if you will, at Buddy Holly Hall on December 1st.
This is a great component of the Lubbock Symphony Orchestra, the Lubbock Symphony Chamber Orchestra, and our guest today on the program, Eric Allen, who is the conductor of the ensemble. Eric, thank you so much for being our guest on the show today. And for people who are interested in season tickets, where is the web address to do that?
Sure. LubbockSymphony.org. That's where you go for all things Lubbock Symphony. We hope you'll go early and often and encourage others to get your season tickets now.
Excellent. Eric, thanks for being our guest on the show today.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.